So, hello. My name is Dara Tomasson, of course. I'm the weight loss coach for quilters, and I'm thrilled that you're here this evening. Tonight's webinar, I came up with this idea, and I had to do it. It's super fun. So I'm going to share my screen because I made you all a beautiful slideshow, which is really fun. And so let's get going. All right. So today's topic of our webinar is how to lose 10 pounds in an hour. So how's that possible? Let's talk about it. So realistically, to lose 10 pounds in an hour, and some of you who've given birth, I have lost more than 10 pounds. I lost 50 pounds in one day once. That was really fun. So, we could have a baby or something like that. But today we're going to be talking about something that is a lot more practical and long lasting, I promise. So I'm Dara Tomasson, of course. I am the life coach for quilters. I help quilters lose weight and actually have a much better life. And so I am a published author, and I was a professional quilter. I was on tour, and now I've focused my energies on helping my clients live the life they really want to live. Okay, so what is really weighing you down right now? And I would love this to be interactive. So in the chat, there's two parts on the webinar. There's Q&A and there's chat. So I love when you guys comment. And so what are the things that are weighing you down right now in your life? Gotta tell me. So in the Q&A, write it in the chat. Tell me for some reason, here, let me stop sharing. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Okay, I gotta find the chat here. Okay, in the chat, oh, there we go. COVID and lack of social interaction. Yes, virus and not seeing the family. Yes, it is so hard. What else is holding you down, weighing you down? Yeah, stress, totally, so much stress. And some of us have literally weight that is literally holding us back. But I have to say, Lisa has just lost over 20 pounds and she is killing it. So fun. She was in my group, and so proud of her. So many of my clients, oh, so good. Clutter, all the stuff in my house. Yes. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. Right. So we've got these other ones. I had some thoughts. Politics are weighing us down. Money problems can be holding us down. What else can be? Oh, UFOs can be holding us down. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, put a pause for a second. I've got something very exciting to show you. I'll be right back. So in the chat, write down all the things that are weighing you down. All the stuff, all the everythings. So when I weighed 200 pounds, I had a lot of thoughts that were very heavy and very painful. The way that I thought about myself did not feel loving and kind to me. I was spending a lot of time beating myself up. I spent a lot of time, single mom, not enough time in the day, fabric clutter, losing people to COVID, not knowing which way to go. Yes, direction. So good. Grief. Oh, keep them coming. I love this. So these are all things that are they literally are figuratively and mentally weighing us down. And so just a little bit about what a life coach is. A life coach is someone who teaches you how to think about your thinking. And as humans, we have the ability, we have a higher brain and a lower brain. And so because we have a higher brain, we can actually think about our thoughts. It's amazing. But as humans, we haven't done a very good job at learning how to think about our thinking. And this really weighs us down. And one of the biggest problems that it gives us is that it actually takes us out of our own power. So many of us feel like we are being, like life is happening to us and that we don't have a lot of choices. And it's really been challenging because we have, as you know, a pandemic. So we've been seeing this symbol a lot because our minds are wired to look for danger, which really serves us in so many ways. And so one of the reasons when we actually literally have physical dangers, like it has been a very long time that we've had any danger. And so the pandemic has really ignited so many of our fight, flight, and freeze reactions because we are wired to be careful and cautious of that. Okay. So I teach you tools how to lighten up. Now, and the thing with our tools is our thoughts actually create a reality. So the more that we think of something, the more that's going to become true for us. So many of my clients and potential clients will say to me, well, this is just how I've always been. This is just the way it was for me growing up. People said I was messy. People said I was unorganized. People said I was whatever. I said, well, how long has it been since you were in grade 5 when your teacher said that? How long has it been since you've actually lived at home with your parents? Like so many of us, because we just keep thinking the same thought over and over. And last week, Wednesday, no, what day? Monday, I did this incredible webinar talking about how science, literally, we can create our dreams using science. And when we think about neuroscience, it's the study of the mind, and our mind is our thoughts. It's a collection of our thoughts. And so if we can actually really look at our thoughts, we can create the life that we really want to have. So meet your brain. And I did mention we have 2 parts. We have the higher brain and lower brain. And one of the problems is an unmanaged mind is like an unsupervised child. So we've got Leanne in here. You said you're a single mom. We have like we have got grandmas here. Lisa is a solo parent for most of her time. And so imagine if you left a 2-year-old to their own devices. Now, this little girl, she looks really cute, but I'm sure she'd get herself into a lot of trouble. So even as adults, if we don't learn how to manage our mind, we can cause a lot of problems, right? And so, oh, I had to do this. So if we don't learn to manage our minds and we are allowing all of these thoughts to continue going around and around, and we're recycling all these thoughts that don't serve us, then we feel very weighed down. So I did some math. 1 pound of fabric is equal to 1.3 yards. So some of you have said that, fabric cluttering your house, losing all the unfinished projects, that can really weigh us down. So one of my favorite tools as a life coach is called the model. And so I work with women in 2 different ways. I have my one-on-one clients who I love, and I have my group members who I love. I love them. I love all the ladies I work with. And I'm so excited because I get to work with a whole new group. And there's going to be women that are in my existing group that are just going to keep working with me. They're just, even though they did the 12 weeks with me, they're going to sign up and do it again because their brain has changed. And we're going to like up level them even more. And I'm so excited for them to give themselves an opportunity because they are just getting going. It's amazing. So here we have the model. Now the model is, we've got the circumstance is a fact. So when I say it's a fact, it means we could go to a judge in a court of law and he would, or she would agree that that is what we're talking about. So I have this amazing program. So when I used to teach quilting, I always said that I was the president of the Perfection Recovery Program. And at the end of my classes, there would be at least 3 or 4 women that would say, "Is that real? Is that a real thing?" And because I am the president and because I've like lived with these principles, I knew in my heart I needed to write it. And so I finally wrote it. It's just fresh off the presses. I'm so proud of it. It's so beautiful. And it literally has the 12 um yeah. Oh, so good. I'll answer that in just a moment, Maury. So in the back, I actually have um a UFO project, and it's a case study. And those people who join my group, I have some bonus classes that we're going to do above our regular group, that we're going to go through all of this. And one of the beautiful things is I have this also in PDF. So that way you don't have to photocopy and print it and all of that. You can actually do it online. It's not PDF. It's PDF with, it's embedded. So you can, what's it called when you can just write on the paper in the computer? It's like computer generated. Come on, people, help me with that. I don't know what that is. Anyways, so I have this whole process of like going through UFOs and all of that. It's amazing. I'm really, really excited about doing that. So I have a question here quickly. I'll answer. So if 50% is good and 50% is bad, how do we know which is defined as good or just life? Well, that's where we just get to decide. Life is, to have a balanced life, we need to have 50% of our life being bad and 50% being good. But this, if this is just like one of my another really fun tool that I teach my clients. So for example, when I was getting on this Zoom call, I pressed the wrong button, and I knew the time was up and I needed to do it, and I pressed the wrong button. So instead of me saying, "Oh my goodness, everything's terrible, what's wrong? Nothing ever goes right in my life," I'm like, "Oh, this is just the 50% of, this is just part of my day that's not so great. No big deal. I know how to unclick and pick another button. Not a problem." So I used to spend a lot of time in this model of like, everything is bad and this is so terrible. And I just compounded it because I was like, "Oh, it's not fair." But now I'm just like, "Oh, this is just the part that's just not as comfortable. This is just the part that's not so great." And then I don't like freak out about it. I don't put a lot of stock into it, and I just move on. So that's kind of that. It's a little side tangent. Thanks, Maury, for bringing it up, because the 50-50, we have to have 50% of our life good, 50% of our life bad to have a balanced life. And actually, we're going to talk a little bit about that further on in our webinar. So good. So let's look at this model. So we have our list of UFOs. And so if you get my book and we do that together, you're going to go through it. You're going to be a very diligent student, and you're going to be, so committed. But you're like, "Okay, this is my list of UFOs." That's actually neutral because you could prove it. Like, these are all the projects I've started, and this is how many we are. I don't know if Janet's on here, but Janet just did this for me, and I'm so proud of her. But if your thought is, "I am very irresponsible," if you're just like, "I'm so irresponsible," then your feeling is probably something like guilty. You might feel shame. You might feel, what are some other feelings you might have if you have the thought, "I'm very irresponsible"? And let's talk about that. Like, so you can put it in the chat, or what, you can just think about it yourself. It's not a problem. So the problem is, if you have the thought, and remember, our thoughts, oh, very good. Yes, right, Claudia, overwhelmed. So our thoughts create our reality. So if we're having thoughts like, "I'm very irresponsible," or "I am very, like, I'm deficient. There's something wrong with me. This is unacceptable." Oh, how about that one? So we can feel overwhelmed, we can feel guilty, shame, all of that. And so when we feel those emotions, we don't look at our UFOs, we put them in a box, we maybe go shop for something else, for that, the shiny new object, right? And then the result is you don't take responsibility. Oops, spelling mistake. We don't take responsibility for you. And then you just perpetuate more and more. So then when you don't deal with it, it just weighs so heavy on you. And for a lot of my perfectionists out there, because we have a lot of all or nothing thinking, and because we're so hard on ourselves and we have like this high degree, I actually have a quiz in this book that you rate yourself on your level of perfectionism. And then I have like 3 different categories. So you can see where you fall in the perfectionist range. It's really, really helpful. And then that way you have like a gauge of knowing where to go. So then you don't take responsibility for you. And that just feels really terrible. And that's like I said, it just weighs us down. So, what are some other thoughts that you might have about your stash? What are some other possibilities that you could feel about your UFOs? So you can put them in the chat. I have another one, and I want to show you how different this model is compared to the first one. So the model is list of UFOs. It's the same circumstance. I will never be bored. Like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be bored. I have so many UFOs. It's amazing. So then the feeling is like interested, engaged, excited, whatever those are, kind of along that flavor. And then the action is joyfully work on a variety of projects. You're like, Monday, I'm going to do this, and Tuesday, because you don't make it mean anything about you. So there, oh, my source, I love it, Marlene. My stash is my natural resources. We love it, right? So when you have thoughts like that, you don't weigh so heavy. That's why I say you can lose 10 pounds in an hour, because it's like, oh, this is amazing, right? And you have a really interesting life. And you're like, I just create that for me. So love it. All right. So since I'm the life coach for quilters and helping them create, lose weight, and create the life they really want, I want you to tell me, what are your current thoughts about your physical weight? You don't have to put it in the chat. It's not a problem. This is just for you to think about. What are your collection of thoughts about your physical weight? So remember, if we go to the model and we have thoughts like, I'm terrible, I'm so overweight, and all of that, and all our thoughts give us our feelings. Our feelings are the fuel to create our actions. And then because of all the things we do, that creates our result. So our thoughts inevitably go into our result line. So our thoughts create a reality. The collections of thoughts we have about ourselves is what we think of ourselves. So just like me up here, when I was 200 pounds, and I don't know if it's exactly 200 pounds in this picture. I don't have a lot of pictures in that time zone. That's right. Oh, I love this. Maury says, due to Dara's coaching, I lose weight. There's also ups and downs. Right. So I teach you all how to lose weight and to manage your mind. And so that way you can like keep losing the weight. And that's right. I'm progressing towards a better me. So good to see all of you. I love all your chats. Do you know there's a really good group of women on this webinar? I'm so thrilled to have you all. Just like it, I just want to tell you, for you to prioritize yourself right now at this moment to be on this call, that tells me a lot about you. That tells me a lot about the kind of person you are. And I love that you're giving yourself the opportunity for this growth. Can I just tell, I'm just going to give you some love right now. I hope you feel it, because I am so pleased for you that you're giving yourself this opportunity to open your mind, because I'm going to give you 5 steps on how to help you to not feel so heavy. Doesn't that sound fun? So fun. Okay, so we talked about our brain. Let me get back to where I'm here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this question. What are some other thoughts you might have about your stash, about your UFOs, about your spending, about the way you spend your time, maybe about the money in your bank, maybe about your relationships with people? What are the collection of your thoughts? Because if you are having a lot of thoughts that are not serving you, that feel really terrible, and all of my clients that are on here, they all know, just like a volleyball or beach ball, if you just keep trying to resist it, you push it down. Resistant and avoid is just like, oh, I don't want to see the beach ball. I got to push it under. I got to push it under. the more you push that beach ball under the water, you have to spend a lot of energy to keep it down. And so the more you resist and avoid, the worse that problem gets. As soon as I get rid of fabric is when I need that particular fabric. I know it's the Murphy's Law. I used to pout all day and eat if the scale was up. Now I know it's just part of the 50 and I might be down more tomorrow. Yes. I love that my current clients are on here. Did you like it's amazing because they're always getting value. I love that. Okay. And we're always learning. So, why do you think you feel this way? Why do you think you're feeling that about yourself? So, there is a silent problem that is holding us back from creating the life that we really want. What do you think that could be? Why do you think you don't have the results that you want in your life right now? We have thought errors for sure. And the model really does help us figure out why we're getting the results we have. So I'm going to talk to you all today about self-doubt. I look at my past instead of my future, right? Accountability, no accountability, right? I love it. Thank you for your comments. So today we're going to talk about self-doubt, which is really interesting because when we talk about fear or we talk about anxiety, we talk about other problems, we generally can see them. But self-doubt is almost like a hidden. It's in we suffer if we suffer from self-doubt. It's like we're hiding. We don't really see it, and it feels very scary. It sits very silently. It doesn't always manifest itself. Oh, I see I have a Q&A. Oh, I don't know if I can see it. Focus on the past rather than future self. Absolutely. So if we can just put our comments in the chat, that would be awesome because I only have so many windows I can keep open. All right. So self-doubt. Why do you think that we suffer from self-doubt? Why does that come up? I want you to think about that. Lack of self-motivation. That's a good one too, Leanne. So one of the problems of self-doubt is every time we evolve, we have to grow. So I'm going to tell you all the story. So I have 2 teenagers in my house. Actually, my son just turned 18, so technically he's not a teenager. He's an adult, but he's in my house, so I still call him a teenager. But my daughter, she's learning to drive. And it's very interesting to watch my children learn to drive. Because driving now, for all of us who have been driving for a while, it's very second nature. It's like no problem. We want to turn left, our brain gives us signals, and we put the blinker, we just do it. It's like so automatic. But I don't know if any of you have sat with someone who's learning how to drive recently, but it is amazing to me. So they actually say it out loud. They'll say things like, I need to be turning left. I need to put the signal to the left blinker. I need to look both ways. Like they're talking out loud. They're slowing everything down. It's very painful. It's very, every single thing is awkward and difficult and it's labored. It's very challenging. And so it takes a lot of effort for our brain to do that. Now, so if we say, hey, brain, guess what? We want to learn something new. We want to join Dara's program. We want to finally learn to lose the weight and keep it off for the rest of our lives. Or we want to learn how to do English paper piecing or whatever, free motion quilting. Then what happens is your brain actually is wired for it to say, no, you shouldn't do that. That sounds very complicated. It's going to use a lot of energy and we probably shouldn't do that. We should just keep doing the same things that we always do because that just sounds just too much, right? Because it's going to evolve. That's going to use some energy and it's going to have us having to do something new and we're going to have some failure, right? And that feels really scary. And so the problem with if we want to create something new for ourselves, the job of self-doubt is to come in and say, you know what, you should probably just not do this. Let's just keep things safe. And so whenever we evolve, whenever we decide to go to the next level, we're going to be plagued with self-doubt. It's like part of the parcel. It's just the way it goes. Okay. So there's a couple of reasons why we experience this. So when we know that self-doubt is part of growth, we we've got some obstacles. Now, one of them is we have this thought that things should be easy. And especially, I remember just even like when I was a school teacher, I thought, okay, this shouldn't be so hard now. But there were certain things that were going to be hard, and so some things became easier, but other things became harder because life, like Maury said, is 50-50. But for some reason, we think that, and that's another reason why I wrote this perfection recovery program, because literally one of the reasons I became a perfectionist was because I thought I could bunk the system. I could like hijack the system. Like if I could just nail everything and figure it all out, then I never have to have any problems ever again. I can just solve for all the problems. I was feeling entitled that everything should be easy all the time. I forgot that there is a price to pay for growth, right? And so, even going back to this concept of a butterfly, the only way that a butterfly or a bird or whatever is able to really grow is if it fights and wrestles against the cocoon or the nest or whatever that is. And it's the same thing for humans. If we want to be our best version of humans, we have to go through growth. And so the beautiful thing is, for like, let's go back to the driving analogy. So now my son, who's 18, who's been driving, it's like second nature for him. He can just do all those things. So now his brain, he's like evolved so much, he's learned it, he's developed it. And so now he can progress and he can keep moving on and creating new things for himself. It's amazing. Just like all of you, think about how much growth you've had. And because now driving, for example, isn't that hard. So now you can do new things and you can keep evolving and you can have more interesting lives and it can be so much more exciting. It's actually really wonderful. So the problem with entitled, and I found this was really interesting when I was reading about this. It's like one of the problems that we fall into is that we think that there should be like a knight in shining armor that should just save us. It's like, wouldn't that just be nice if they just did it for us? But the problem is we're totally not allowing ourselves the opportunity to grow. So we really aren't growing anyway. We think it would be so nice if someone just did that for us. But if they did, then we would never be at the level or the happiness that we are now because we would never have had that growth. Okay, and I literally had to get a picture of the Nile River because the question is, do we identify your self doubt or stay in denial? I thought it'd be fun to have a laugh. So, how much of us live in a way? Oh, I just want to just make a comment here back about this entitled thing about life. So, one of the problems with this, if we have this thought that we should be entitled to do things and things should just be easy, the problem is if we don't give ourselves the opportunity to really grow. So, one of my clients right now, she's on this call. I'm challenging her to work through my free motion quilting book. And we just made a goal that she could make one quilt that she would quilt and that she would feel proud that she did that. And the reason I'm challenging her to just that one thing is because she wants to live a life where she can just free motion quilt quilts and she can just have that as part of her joy. And so I'm helping her gain her skill set to increase that. She's not just going to, the problem, a lot of us is we expect it just should just be like that and it just should be easy. But it's like, no, we're just going to start somewhere and we're just going to build onto that. And so, but if, for example, she doesn't want to take on my challenge and she never does that, and she's like, oh, that is just too hard, she's now having a new flavor of discomfort. So now she's just always doing a walking foot and she's always taking quilts to the long armor, which as a former professional long armor. I don't have any problem with that, but she's now denying herself of the kind of life where she just gets to create her own free motion quilting on a quilt. And so that's the same thing with all of us. If we don't give ourselves the opportunity for growth, we're never going to get to that. So but we still have this discomfort. We're like, oh, it's so much easier if I don't have to do the free motion quilting practice or make my protocol or stick to it. But now you have this whole new flavor of discomfort of not having to have achieved your goal. So you're really shortchanging yourself from the kinds of life that you really actually want to have. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's so good to think about. So do we identify your self-doubt or just stay in denial? So how hard is it for you to actually like look in the mirror and face that? So how often do you say things like, I'm too old to do that. I'll never fit in that dress. Um, you doubt your abilities. I'm not sure if I, really could do that. So how often do you actually let yourself go there? Or are you just like, no, I could never do that? And then just turn it off. And then you never have that growth. Now, I do want to just make a shout out right now for one of my clients. I was so pleased to hear this because one of the things that hold my potential clients back, they see me on Instagram, they see me on this and saying, they look at me, but they don't believe. There's something about them they have thoughts like, I'm not smart enough. I've tried all the things in the past. I haven't been successful. I've spent money in the past. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken. They have all of these thoughts. And one of my clients, the pandemic hit and she just said, you know what? I'm done. Like she went through her closet. She just decided, I'm just going to be this weight forever. I'm not going to be able to do the things I wanted. She basically kind of gave up because she didn't really look at her self-doubt. She just kind of accepted it. And so she joined my program. And just the other day, she said to me, I realize I now have hope. And I loved that for her because I believed in her. I believe in my tools. And I was so proud of her for having that belief in herself, just a little bit of belief in herself to take the plunge. And one thing that is so impressive about her was she lost a bunch of weight at the beginning and she plateaued for quite some time. But she just kept at it and she just kept at it and she just kept practicing the tools and she didn't give up because she was willing to look at her self-doubt. She's willing to say, well, maybe I'm too old. And then she was able to question it and say, well, am I too old? Do I want to have that thought? Is that an option? And so because she started having hope and because she started using these tools, she was able to look at that and say, I don't even actually think that's true. I think I can. And it was so interesting because she had what we call, as you know, ladies in my group, a whoosh, where you can have a plateau for a while and then you just have like a 3 pound or a 4 pound, sometimes even 5 pounds, just and so much of it has to do with the collections of thoughts that we have about ourselves. It's so exciting. So I just need to do a shout out for my one client. She's on here. She knows who she is. I'm just so proud of her. All right. So what's another reason why we experience self-doubt? So how do you perceive your obstacles? So remember what I said at the beginning, our thoughts create our reality. So if we have a collection of thoughts that are very negative, that are very like not helping us, then we're not going to have the success. Now I wanted to read this part to you. So if your opinion is, yes, that's an obstacle, and yes, I will face it, and yes, I will deal with it, and I will understand it, I will have compassion for it, and I will not act on it, I will be in control of my mind and my feelings and my actions. That opinion is going to breed commitment and determination to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. It is always a choice what you decide to do with the obstacle. Now, the problem is that self-doubt is pretty knee-jerk reaction for most of us. And remember what I said about our brain? Our brain, our lower brain wants us to stay safe. It wants us to conserve energy. It doesn't want us to do new things. And so I love this part. Considering our evolution again, right? The way that our brain is wired. In the past, we hadn't had a choice of doubt. Remember. So in the past, we didn't we're like, oh, that buffalo is chasing me. What should I do? I don't think I'm very fast. I don't think I should. No, we would just go and we would get out of the way of the buffalo, right? And if we were, so we didn't have the luxury of sitting around and thinking about what we were capable of. We just either got to work or we didn't. Because if we didn't, we would die. So one of the tools my 7th week in my 12-step program, we talk about feelings because my second principle in my program is emotions are the key to the universe. And we talk about there's different kinds of emotions, and one of them is indulgent emotions. And so when we stay in worry and overwhelm and confusion, we're not progressing. And I love that. It's like in the past, we didn't have that option. So now we have lots of options, which also equates to escape routes. And so we have to really get on to our brain about what we're doing. Now, remember, another question to to consider when it comes to self-doubt is, what do you think about yourself when you think about yourself? How often are we our own worst enemy? Okay. So if we can start thinking about our thoughts and be aware of them, we can start realizing what we want to do about it. So one last thing I wanted to share here, and I just put this on my group Facebook, but this was really profound when I was thinking about this. And in the very last part of my program, I talk about creating a future you whom you love being. And I don't know if any of you watched my beautiful client, Jan. She's 84 years old. And by the end of the program, she said, I started to dream again. Now, this is really beautiful. Dreams expose our doubts. So is there any reason why some of us struggle with dreaming? Because it can be very uncomfortable. And so that's why it's so amazing to have dreams. Because when we can expose our doubts, we can start looking at them. And so I ask you, why wouldn't you want your doubts exposed? Because once you expose your doubts, then you can go ahead and change them. Isn't that beautiful? You don't have to recycle that same life. Your past doesn't become your future. What you want your future to be, you decide what it is, because now you're exposed to all your doubts and you're like, oh, now I know why I didn't do paper piecing. Or now I know why I didn't do whatever I wanted to really do. Because once you finally know what it is, it's like, oh, okay. If my thoughts become my reality, if I can be aware of my thoughts, I can get onto myself. I can figure it out. And Dara has this really cool tool called a model, and she can help me figure that all out. It's amazing. Okay. So the next one we have is, so why do we experience self-doubt? Now, do you doubt your doubts or do you doubt your goals? There's a huge difference. I love doubt your doubts before you doubt your goals. So I'm getting all fired up. I got to take my sweater off. So it is a natural progression for us to doubt. It's not a problem. You're like, oh, of course. I want to grow. My brain is saying, don't do anything crazy. Don't expend more energy than we need. And so I say, bring it. Let's do it. Let's grow. Let's have some discomfort. This is where I get my best stuff. I have a very beautiful quilt on my my hotel bed right now. And you can't see all the details. You have to go on my Instagram and look at it. It was on RJR. It was featured on one of their, they used to do this feature Friday, and it is so beautiful. It is probably one of the most beautiful, works I've done. Actually, I've done a lot of really beautiful works, most of them from other people. This one is actually for myself. And I am so glad. I had so many doubts when I was doing that thing for RJR. oh, is it going to be good enough? And what are people going to think? But oh, I'm so glad I doubted my doubts, not my goal, because my goal was I want to put more beauty in the world and I want to build my skill and I want to create other beautiful quilts for other people. And I was able to create beautiful things for other people. It was so much fun. But I'm so glad that I dealt with the doubts and I just let them be. So, and the problem is self-doubt feels very real when it happens. It feels like it's something that comes over us and that we don't have any control of, but we actually do. So it's natural reaction to growth. It's what self-doubt is. It's basically thoughts that don't support us in our capabilities. So that makes sense, right? Your brain is like, excuse me, you haven't done a quilt for RJI before. Excuse me, you haven't been a weight loss coach before. Excuse me, you haven't, right? It's trying to tell us like there could be some problems. But I love this. I believe that our ability to grow is only limited by our self-doubt. So some of you ladies in this webinar today who signed up for my group before, they are having massive success. And I bet you, if you asked any of them, if they thought that was possible at the beginning, you can put it in the chat if you want, ladies, it's up to you. But their growth has been incredible. And guess what? It hasn't been as hard as they thought because they started to doubt their doubts, not doubt their goals. It's way more fun. Okay. So I'm going to talk about 5 steps. I thought these numbers were pretty cute. So we're going to have 5 steps to increasing your self-confidence. Oh, let me see what Lisa said. I did not think it was possible. I have given up so many other times. So Lisa, what made the difference, if you don't mind sharing, with the way that I ran the program? Because one of the things that I really want all of you to know is that it's totally 100% possible. So I have, okay, I thought I had someone raise their hand. We're not doing, if you want to put things in the chat, I would love that. Okay, so get out your piece of pen and paper. I got to go really quick through this because I want to make sure I have time for questions. So the first step is to think about something you want. Okay, this is hard because you're like, just like what Lisa said, I failed so many times in the past. Now remember, we're going to our future self to find out. Because if I said to you when you were 5, hey, we're going to learn to tie shoes, you're like, nope, sorry. Never tied shoes before, I'm not doing it. Even when you were like 1 year old, we're like, okay, we're going to walk. You're like, no, I'm not walking. I've never walked before. I'm apparently not very good at it because I keep falling. And so I'm just going to quit walking. Right? No, we didn't do that. We're like, come on, walk, we can do this. And tying shoes, it's like, okay, we bring the thing, let's practice. Sit down beside me. I'll get, whatever it is. Okay, so Lisa, I love this. I'm retraining my brain. I've literally told my doctor before, as she wrote out a nutrition consult for me, that I do not have a knowledge problem, I have a thinking problem. Oh, I love it. Lisa, that is perfect. That is perfect. That's beautiful. Okay, oh my gosh, I love you so much. So we are all smart. We are all capable. But that is the problem. If we all could just have it, we would just do it. But we have a thinking problem. I am a coach to help you with your thinking problems. And this program helps you with your thinking problem. It changes people's lives. Okay, so write down what you want. So even this step is really hard for a lot of people because remember what I said about dreams? Dreams expose your doubts. And if you can't deal with your doubts, then you don't have the dreams. So that's super scary. So then you don't even allow yourself the opportunity for growth because you're like, sorry, I can't think of that. Okay, so think about something you want. Commit to me now. Okay, everyone, put your hand up. I promise I will write down at least one thing I want in this webinar. Will you all say that? Okay, for real. Do this for yourself. Think about something you want. Now, write down your thoughts about it. This is great. I want you just to write it all down. It's like whatever it is that you just okay, I love this because your brain is like self-doubt, self-doubt, self-doubt. You're like, nope, sorry, brain. I'm just going to keep writing this down. I'm just going to keep writing. I'm just going to keep going. And so you could be like, yep, self-doubt is there. That's fine. You can have like self-doubt as this annoying little mouse or something that's in your ear saying, oh, you should doubt that. I don't think that's going to happen. Remember what that's called? I just coached quite a few ladies about this last week. Worry. Worry is that annoying, worry and self-doubt are kind of similar, aren't they? They're like, don't forget that things could go wrong. Don't forget that other people are better at free motion quilting than you. Don't forget that you're really tall and you have big bones. And don't forget that you've spent how much money on Weight Watchers. And don't forget, right? But you're just going to write those down anyway. And even if you want to write those down, write them down. Let them be on paper. Give them, just be like, yeah, I'm doing it. Just write it all down. Okay. The third thing you do is you notice the response of the self-doubt. Okay, so I'm going to just read it how it's said here. When you believe those thoughts, when you attach yourself to them, what do you feel like? What do you do when you feel that way? Now, remember my example about weighing. Well, we could actually go overtime if we need to. It doesn't have to be, by the way, my children are not here. I am here by myself at a resort. So fun. So I could actually, I don't have to be done at 5. I mean, at 6. We can stay longer. But I'm going to keep going because I don't want to keep you too much overtime. This is good. Okay, so pay attention to your response so that you understand where your thoughts go. Because remember, our thoughts create our feelings. And so when we can finally allow our feelings, because our feelings are what really leads us to action. So if we are like sitting on our chair and we are watching TV and there is a commercial that has a hamburger and it looks amazing, you have a thought that says you should go eat a hamburger. And if the feeling is no, like you don't care, or it's like no big deal, or if your feeling is like desire, like such strong desire, you could actually, from that desire, that feeling could actually get you off of the chair, go to your car keys, walk in your car, turn on your car, drive to some hamburger place, take your money out, talk in a thing and order a hamburger, pay for it, and then put the hamburger in your mouth, chew it. Like that whole sequence of events, all of those things you had to do were all because of the emotion you had, desire, whatever it is, right? Like whatever that motion was. So if you can know what's going on in your head, your thought, that what creates a feeling. That feeling is what's going to cause you to go through all those steps to create the action. So the action is get your keys, go in your car, drive in the car, order the hamburger, eat the hamburger, and then the result would be have the hamburger. I want the hamburger is the thought, the feeling is desire, actions, da 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 da, and then the result is you eat the hamburger. Interesting, right? So pay attention to the responses so that you understand where your thoughts go. Now, for example, if you have, I'm just going to read this example. So if I have that idea, such as having 5,000 people, if you have this idea, so then you say, well, what's going to go on? What could go wrong? What could be the problems? So you're going to have discouragement. You're going to have those doubt and you're like, yeah, okay, no problem. But I have a desire for, so let's give like weight, for example. Like, let's say you do really want to join my group because like, who wouldn't want to join my group? Because you've been seeing the videos of the women. And even on here, Lisa, I mean, how fun is that? She's lost 20 pounds. She's a solo parent. She's all sorts of stuff going on. And in 12 weeks, over the holidays, solo parenting, all the things, having to move soon, somewhere where she doesn't want to move to, she was still able to do all of these things because she was able to see, yeah, okay. And she had proof, like she went to a doctor and a doctor said, oh, just do this and you'll be fine. Okay. So she paid attention to what was going on and she looked at it and she's like, okay, yeah, but that's okay. I can feel discouragement. I can feel negative emotions, But her desire for her result now, because she can manage her mind, she can weigh it out and she can make those decisions for herself because she knows what she really wants, right? So it's not like back when we talked about that sabotage thing where you kind of like, you're like, well, I don't really want to do the one thing. So then you don't do it to have relief to not do it. But then now you're not having the joy of being able to do the free motion quilting or whatever, right? You're doing a trade-off. So now you just have, I like how, yeah, so you're just having this trade-off and you're not going to really have the desire and you're just kind of living this kind of mediocre life that you didn't really want to have. Yeah, you're just having a different flavor of misery. I love that. Okay, so number 4, decide not to believe the negative thoughts. Did you know that you could do that? Did you know that you could just be like, I'm just not going to believe you? So like when I went to the doctor and, she said, oh yeah, just eat less, move more. I can just decide that I'm just not going to have those negative thought patterns anymore. Oh, and who said it? I can't remember which one of you said, I'm going to find it. Oh, I think it was Cheryl. Yeah, she said, I used to pout all day and eat if the scale was up. Now I know it's just part of the 50 and I might be down tomorrow. So she didn't have to believe her negative thoughts. She didn't have to believe, because we'll have thoughts. They come. Remember, we have 60,000 thoughts a day or so. And we can either believe them or we can say, yeah, I don't really want you, thought. Bye-bye. You're not serving me. Adios. So where Cheryl is able to have her success is she's like, the scale doesn't dictate so she could have a negative thought, but she's like, I'm not going to choose to believe you, thought. Like, yeah, you can come, but you can't stay. I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to pull up a chair and say, come stay with me. She's like, okay, right? She's not allowing that to determine who she's going to be and define her. And by the way, I love the text I got from Cheryl today. Do you want to share you want to share the text you got? You sent me? It's awesome. It was pretty fun for her. So she can share it if she wants, but it's pretty fun. I got 2 in a row. Yeah, sure. Share it. Put it in the chat and I'll share it with everyone, or I can just share it. So I got a text 2 in a row from my ladies, 2 of my clients. One said, new jeans, 2 sizes smaller, also shaped fit instead of relaxed fit. It's a glorious day. And then another client just wrote, she got down to a new milestone that she hasn't seen forever. And she's just so thrilled. So this works. So good. Oh, another one of my clients. Oh, I hadn't read this one yet. Checking in to let you know I've gained trust in myself. I have talked myself out of wrong choices several times. I've also managed to break the 159-pound mark, which I've been stuck at since before Christmas. So good. So proud of you. I think you're on here too. All right. So we don't have to decide the negative thoughts, because let's say like that client that just sent me that one, if she believed like I could never be under 150, I could never be in the 150s, it's not possible, I'm terrible, I'm deficient, she would never have broken that. She would never have given herself that opportunity to celebrate. Now, this is actually an option, people. You get to decide what you want to believe about yourself. You get to believe that. So what do you want to believe about yourself? Have you ever asked yourself that question? What do you want to think about when you think about your dreams? What are you going to choose to focus on? What are you going to choose to tell your mind to think about? Because each obstacle in your life is going to be an opportunity to doubt yourself or evolve yourself. So in the very first module and the very last module, and throughout the whole program, we have this concept of obstacles and strategies. Obstacles and strategies. So the more aware you are about your life, you can actually see, oh, this is an obstacle for me. And so when you say, oh, here's an obstacle, oh, how am I going to overcome it? And then we can get busy at getting strategies to create that for yourself. And so now if you don't have a lot of obstacles in your life, it's because you're not dreaming big enough. You're probably hiding because you don't want to have to make the choice between self-doubt and evolving. So isn't that a beautiful thing? Now, okay. I didn't know this was, okay. So I'm just going to take two more things and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my program. So we don't want to focus on the past. Just like my example with tying shoes. If you're like, hey, do you want to tie shoes? No, sorry, I've never tied shoes before. I'm not going to do it. No, we don't focus on the past. We go to the future you whom we love being, and we talk to her about it. So that is super fun. Now, the other thing is, I really want you to think about your legacy. Now, we're not talking about like, we have to be big and showy, but I really want you to think about who do you really want to be? So I love this. If you fully believe that you can do something, you already have it, because the only thing that's keeping you from what you want and what you have now is your belief about you. That's it. It is the belief about you. So I don't know if some of you see my beautiful flowers. So I made a goal and it was seen to be an impossible goal. And just using the tools that I teach all of you, I reached an amazing um, benchmark in my business that blew my mind. And my coach sent this for me. And I have now like reached a new level for building businesses. And I am having this incredible experience for myself because I was willing to have a dream, be willing, remember, the second part of my program is emotions are the key to the universe. So if you have a belief, if you have a goal that you want to have, you just have to work on your belief. So I am the example of that possibility in so many ways. So the 3 foundations of my program are weight loss science is simple. It really is. And the beautiful thing about weight loss science being simple is that you don't have to be confused by food. You can just create a food protocol, which I help my clients do. They create that for themselves. They tweak it. They own it. They're completely empowered by the food and the way that they eat their food. I promise you, it is liberating. So my clients learn that weight loss science is simple. They create their own protocols. They learn the foods that work for them, and they just get to work at making it work. And they lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds doing that. And they are completely autonomous. Like they got it. And of course they'll come to me and of course I'll help them. But their body is different than my body. But when we have the foundation of the science and really understanding it being super simple, like really understanding it, you create this. I weigh 15 pounds, 16 pounds less than I did when I got married 19 years ago. I've had 5 kids. I didn't even know I could be this weight. And it's all because I'm just like this. I have my protocol and it works. And weight loss science is simple. Emotions are the key to the universe. You can create anything you want in life because when you know that the worst thing that can happen is an emotion and you're not afraid of emotions anymore, you're good. You can create all sorts of things. And then we get really busy at creating the future you whom you love being. So you can be like my client who now has hope. She's like, oh my gosh, I can be whatever age and I don't have to give up. So remember in our 20s and 40s, we're like, oh, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for this. And then what happens when we're 40? Do we talk like that? What happened to our mindset? I coached one of my clients this past week, and she was so excited by the end of our call and she's in her 70s, because she's like, I'm so excited about my life. She used to wake up with the thought, well, it's another day. But as we really explore and as we really look at the life that she really wants to have, she's now believing and she's having this hope that she can create the life she wants. All right. So I will go through all of this. I just got to go through this part for you because I really want you to know what is possible for you. I could like shout the praises of my clients all night. I am so proud of them. And I am so happy for all of you who are on this call. So this is the option that you have to work with me. So my program starts January 25th at 11 o'clock a.m. And I teach you interactively. You have a beautiful, beautiful modules. And for me teaching you and the modules, and that is $2,000. Then every Wednesday, you will get a coaching call with me. So fun. So you get this coaching call with me and I'll coach you on whatever we just learned. It's awesome. And that's a value of $3,000. And there we have second bonus right here. You get to be in a private Facebook group. This is very interactive. People are very supportive. They love each other. They celebrate each other. They are compassionate and kind to each other. It's amazing. That's a value of $3,000. And then once you work with me, what happens is the fourth Monday of every month, right now, that's what we're having right now, you get on an extra coaching call with me. I will be continuing to help support you. And then since I'm a quilter, everyone who signs up, we make a quilt. So I actually have the quilt that's going in the draw on Friday. You have to come. It's there and it will be drawn and it's a mini quilt custom made by me. And that's just a really fun bonus. So when you do the math, for a value of $12,000, an investment of $2,000. Like, you gotta do this. And so I would love you to come. I would love you to be a part of that. So my question is, well, first of all, what would you create with a life where you could feel like even the very first thing, if you could just feel free around food, how different would that be in your life? So, questions. Anyone have any questions they have for me? So it starts January 25th. Did everyone get the bingo sheets? We're playing bingo on Friday. We got prizes. It's going to be super fun. But what questions do you have for me about the program? So some of my clients who work with me one-on-one, they're also in, excuse me. Some of my one-on-one clients, several of them are also in this group. So they totally work together. I totally reinforce. I have in my one-on-one, we work really specifically on your brain. I teach you my tools and we do have worksheets and we do a deep dive every month into different themes. But my program is very sequential. It's very like, it's building blocks. So I'm using my elementary school teacher days. I taught for almost 10 years and we have very specific modules with incredible worksheets and I build upon one concept after the other concept after the other concept. Another question I have, where do we get the bingo sheets? Okay, they should be in your emails. So Julie, you are already in the program. I will have Rochelle post the bingo sheets in our new group. So you should be able to access them there. But, oh, you found them in the Facebook. Yeah. But Julie, if you can't, they should be in the email that you got today, like my general email that goes out. And if you have any problems, we'll put them in the Facebook group. I think that Rochelle solved it. I've actually been on the go since 6 o'clock this morning. And so I went from my mastermind. It didn't finish until half an hour before this webinar. So I just got that all polished up and I'm here. So I haven't even looked and seen that. So I apologize, Julie. Are there any other questions that you might have? I just want to tell you all how pleased I am for all of you for being here. And one of the most exciting things that I am doing right now in my life is I am having the opportunity to show women that they no longer, some of them 84 years, 78 years, 64 years, 54 years. My youngest client is, I think, 33. They are getting freedom over food like they've never had before. They are learning to create a life that they actually really want, that they've never been able to experience before. These tools work. And it is such an honor and a privilege to be your coach. And I would be so thrilled for you, for your families, for the impact you'd have in the world if you became that person that had all the energy, that you had all of that capability because you are no longer getting in your own way. So let's do this. Sign up. It's as simple as a PayPal link. I will send it to you. I do have some time tomorrow evening. If there are any last minute questions you have, I have time for a 20-minute consult. If you would love to do that, I'm here for you. My program is incredible. I am so proud of it. And the reason I know it is even more amazing than I thought is because of the results that my clients are getting from it. And it's just getting better and better. And if you already were in my program and you're wondering if you should do it again, absolutely 100%. I actually did this mastermind in August, and we did 3-day training, and I had weekly calls, and I am such a different person coming into this round. The 3 days of training, it is amazing how different my brain is. How in some ways we had pre-videos and homework to do, and it was like I was watching them all again for the first time because I am such a different person now. And so as you continue as in the program, as you continue to learn these things, it's like you're learning them new because your brain has been changed, and you're going to get all new things from that. So thank you so much for being on this webinar again. I love you all, ladies. I'm so happy that you're doing this for yourself. I can't wait to have you in my program. Bye-bye.